All right. Hello, everybody. We are online. It's 2:01. We're excited to have our friends Rachel and Lauren here from Sweetwood Village hopping on a webinar with us. We'll give a couple minutes to people kind of trailing in a little bit. Go ahead and get familiar with the Zoom application. If you have any questions, we're going to be taking those near the end of the time. We're going to save questions till the end. But if you have some questions, chat in on the right side. Thinking about the business mindedness from a design standpoint, from a business standpoint, that's the big thing here. Really making sure that we balance business and design in 2020. And it's a balancing act, of course. So we're super excited that Sweetwood Village has jumped on here with their beautiful festive tree. So we have some Christmas cheer. And if you don't follow them online or on Instagram, do it immediately. I'm sure most of you know them by now, but go to Sweetwood Village's Instagram. We'll put all the information to afterwards on a landing page. So with that being said, comment where you're from. Where are you guys at? Most of the people are probably in the States. We may have some international ones too. I think we had over 100. I think we actually went like 2 over 100. So 102 people registered for this. So we're excited for everyone to be on here. And then we'll do a little bit intros. But I will say I did have one quick announcement before we hop in. It's actually a special anniversary. And it's a special anniversary for Sweetwood Village. Congrats on 4 years.
Yeah! 4 years with Curate. Confetti.
So we bought these little poppers right before, and I realized I'm directly under a smoke detector.
Oh,
I thought about that. I was like, you know what? Rain in a webinar is not fun. So we popped a couple in the bathrooms, and the landlord was probably going to be upset with us a little bit. So
perfect. I like it.
So happy 4-year anniversary with Curate specifically.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, we're excited. But enough about Curate. Tell us about you guys. Obviously, 4 years with Curate. You've been in business longer than that. Who are you both? Feel free to introduce yourself. How did you guys actually connect and start a business?
Yeah, I'm Lauren.
Rachel.
We've been in business for almost 10 years now. Next year will be our 10th anniversary. So we're excited to come up on that. Yeah, super exciting. We met back when we were both in college, and we just kind of Rachel got married. I had been doing flowers for a while. Rachel was getting her art degree. We're both very creatively inclined, and we were both getting into some professional photography and painting and drawing and music. We were just, it was dabbling in all of that fun stuff. And we planned and did pretty much Rachel's whole wedding, did flowers for her, did flowers for another friend's wedding shortly after. And one night we were like, that was so much fun. I wish we could just do that all the time.
And then, why can't we? We're adults. We can do whatever we want. Let's start a blog. We're going to do something fun and artistic with our lives. And, I had no idea what was going to come out of that. And then here we are almost 10 years later. We've got a 3,000 square foot warehouse. We have 3 full-time employees, a few other on payroll, hundreds of people that help us throughout the year on events. We do 70 to 80 weddings a year. There's no way we would have known at this point. At that point, what we would be doing now. And it's nothing we planned for or anticipated, or we didn't have big goals in mind or a business plan or anything. So it's been an exciting 10 years of growth and innovation and success and all kinds of fun things that we're really proud of. Yeah.
And fun. I mean, we follow your Instagram stories. I'm sure most people do. It's you guys are authentically fun, and I could imagine just waking up and going to work at Sweetwood Village. It's got to be fun there, and people just have to love working with you guys too. So
a lot of wine.
Some days are more fun than others.
Especially in the holiday season, right?
Yeah, we all know what this industry is like. It's not that glamorous, but we do try to have fun. Yes.
Yeah, and it shows. No, that's exciting. That's a cool story. I picked up some new information that way. I'm also excited about just you guys in general. One thing that's really cool about you all and kind of what you've built is you've really taken a business-minded approach in the industry. You also do incredible designs though too. So I think a lot of people watching, they probably lean a little bit more towards the design side, and the focus of this is kind of hey, how do we focus on the business side? And we're excited you guys have taken that approach, but you also do those incredible designs. Have you always been like that, or did one kind of favor the other, and then at one point you're like, okay, we need to kind of pivot into this to kind of bring the marriage together?
We were thinking about that when we were reading this question, just of what that looked like. And I think we always have taken both approaches. One, because we're artists in various forms all around, but we're both extremely type A and organized and can't handle the idea of not like Lauren's amazing at finances. And she was like, we are not starting in debt. We are not getting loans. She's like, I am really good at spreadsheets. I will know where every penny is going. And and then I leaned more towards the marketing side and was like, and our website must look amazing. And our branding must be cohesive. And so like together we're a really perfect pair because we love the design side, but we're equally and have become almost more passionate about the business side of just staying really on top of things. And we're always growing and constantly changing, but that's definitely always been a priority. I think from day one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I guess the combination of that, it can probably pull one way some days and one way the other. Obviously you have to do the books on Sundays or at the end of the month and stuff. And maybe it's just all design one day, but I really like how you guys have pulled that together. And naturally just feels normal, but it's also, I know I don't see the books that you guys do, but I know that both are weighted appropriately just by looking at your business model too. So kudos to you guys. So I'm sure everyone at home is like, yes, you go, you do it. But when it comes to designing, a lot of people, this term designing for profits really, mentioned a lot in the industry too. So specifically for you guys, what does designing for profit mean for your company? And how do you ensure that you're never sacrificing one for the other, never sacrificing the design for the business or the business for the design? What does design for profit mean for you guys?
It's interesting. I think profit was never a question for us from day one to be profitable or not.
A lot of people imagine that you'll start a business and wait to see your profit for a few years. Like every penny has to go back into the business and you'll take nothing home for a few years. But we were like, no, why? So we took a paycheck home from, it was, maybe only $50, but everything we did, we took a cut from. It didn't all go back into the business, and the business has still grown even though we've taken a paycheck. Probably because we took a paycheck, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to fall into that mindset of like, I just love this. This is what I'm passionate about. I don't care if I make much. I just want to do what I love, and it's okay if I just make a little bit or nothing at all. But we just feel like that's a recipe for burning out, because you might be able to carry on like that for a little while, being really fulfilled by just doing your artistic passion, because it is fulfilling, but eventually that can definitely wear off, or like when you're managing multiple events or large scale things, and if you're not feeling creatively fulfilled at any season, which happens, ebbs and flows, I feel like it's extra important in those times to have that financial reward of like bringing home a paycheck on the dinner table and just be like, it was a really hard week. I didn't feel very inspired, but you know what? I contributed to feeding my family this week. And that was really important. I feel like, I don't know, I think especially as women, I think for some reason we tend to devalue our worth and our, it's okay for you to make money. You should be making, it's just, we feel like, so I think it's really important for us. We've always found it as like a challenge of like, we will have a legit successful business doing what we love.
Legit paycheck.
Yeah. Like we deserve to do that. So I think it was always just like a fun, exciting challenge for us to have both of those.
So the designing for profitability.
Yeah. Does that answer that question?
Sort of.
Oh, I guess
just that profit was a high priority.
Yeah.
And I don't think we leave as much room in our designs for play as others do. And we're okay with that because profit is a higher priority for us. I mean, the large events, everything is priced accordingly. We have a budget to stick to. There's certain events that we'll like order some fun extra stuff that came off the local truck or things like that. We'll make concessions here and there for sure.
But I think we just try lovely. In the first place, when we're writing a proposal, we like to plan it out to be priced correctly in the first place. So like if we want to do this epic, beautiful, flowing, whatever mantle design, we're not just going to be like, oh, the bride can only afford $500 mantle design, but I really need it to be like $750. That's okay. I'll just do it for $500 to make it pretty. Like we're not in this to just be like
I'd like to pay for your wedding.
Yeah, we're not paying for your wedding. So, we just try to figure out ways to make that work. And so that's why we've always been really big nerds about the numbers and recipeing. And actually, so we were doing some filing recently, and we have every single client folder file all the way back from the start of our business in 2010. And the first wedding we ever did, like I said, was Rachel's. I found her client folder, and I was showing some of our staff, and I opened it up, and there were literally spreadsheets of recipes that I had written out that I'm like, there will be 3 of these and 4 of those, and 2 this and 6 anemones in the bridal bouquet. And I added all this was way before before Curate's time. We knew where every single penny was going. We knew where every single flower was going, so there wasn't overages. So I think we just started with that mindset and didn't really know how to do it any other way. So we would just try to put our creativity up front with the pricing to make sure we're going to be profitable from this no matter what.
Yeah. We're also, I think we live in a really expensive area, and there's not really an option to just do it for fun. Lauren was single shortly to be living on her own. I had just gotten, obviously just gotten married, was finishing out my last semester or 2 of college, soon after got pregnant. So there's no room to just this is for fun.
Do a hobby.
This is a hobby. We had to make money. Yeah. There was no option to not. So beginning.
As far as your markups, because I see this pretty much in every webinar I join, every channel that I just look through, every blog, forum or anything like that, everyone's talking about markups and determining their markups. How do you guys determine your markups? You talk about designing for profit and making sure you are profitable. What does that look like for you? Kind of digging into a little bit about how you determine your markups.
It has changed over the years. Yeah. I think when we first started pricing, we were doing a little bit of a lower markup because my background had been in retail flower shops. So that's where I learned how to write proposals. And then when we were doing our business, we were doing only events. And we actually had dinner one night with one of our wholesaler reps, and we were talking about numbers and markups, and he's like, whoa, your markup needs to be higher, much higher. And we were like, what? I'm like, this is why. And he's like, well, because you're an event florist, all your eggs are in one basket, and you put all of your energy and time and focus. You are an expert at wedding and event flowers. You don't have, I don't want to call it
totally different
distractions. It's a different business model. We don't have daily deliveries and all of these other things to kind of put our energy towards. So, so it went up, and then we kind of figured out what worked in our market and kind of fluctuate a little bit down and back up in different ways. But took some trial and error. Our markups definitely fluctuated throughout the years.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty much at the standard.
Yep. Yeah, including labor and all of that. So. Definitely.
I was going to say, I've heard of that too. When people are starting off, they want to get their name out there a little bit more. Maybe they'll do a smaller market, but then they start getting different clients, a little bit more established, and then they'll increase from there. I think it's super smart, not only with inflation, just the economy, but as you get better and better at your work, that you can charge a little bit higher. And I think some people are surprised at how high they can charge based on their work, just because they're like, they're very humble about it. They're like, oh, it's just worth a 2-time markup. But no, it's a 4-time markup job with a 20 or 30% labor.
Yeah, it's a tough industry because I think it's easy. People don't realize how much flowers are. Before we starting this business, I had no idea. Walking into a shop, I just have no idea. I just think most people don't realize flowers are so expensive.
Yeah.
So it's
a lot of educating your client. I forget what I was going to say. It was something about, I don't know. I don't remember.
I was going to say it can be discouraging when I feel like clients are always just surprised at how much things cost. But stand firm to your guns. You can't make nothing, and it's an expensive. It's kind of a commodity. It's a luxury product. Anything that is going to die a few days after your event is a luxury that you have it. So it's your business shouldn't be a commodity.
And it's interesting too, because people can go to their local floral market, pick up some tulips for the table when they're buying groceries, and they're like, oh, it's $10 for a dozen. Why? And I think people, to your point, underestimate kind of the work. We've done little team building workshops as a team. Hey, let's have these flowers and let's design. Let me tell you, you guys know this, but I didn't really realize how much talent goes into actually building an arrangement. It takes talent. I'm like, I have a design eye. I can do this, you guys. When I looked at that arrangement at the end, I was like, who wants to take this home? Anybody? No one? Okay. Cool. I'll take it home. No worries. Not everyone's speaking at once. No, that's great. We have a free resource. We'll put it in the link for our calculator, so people can actually see that. You can look at that. Curate has an awesome markup calculator. You can see that it's completely free. But if you are kind of starting off and looking for your markups or wanting a spreadsheet, and you're not the Excel guru that these two ladies are, feel free to go in there. You can see that as well. So, and also your original recipe sheets, I'd love to see that, just kind of what you did back in the day. It'd be really cool to see that.
Yeah, we have a subscription membership account called Patreon. Like, we're talking about doing an April Fool's.
I'm gonna give it away.
Oh, it's funny.
Because April Fool's week, we might like post some old recipes, old things that aren't so great.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it, but it's that's what I like about YouTube as well, is it's like so relatable, but it's like, hey, this is real life. Like, this is what happens sometimes. This is what our wedding folder looks like, and I think that's great. I love the idea. I won't tell anybody. Anyone that's on, don't tell anybody about their April Fool's joke coming up. So just between us. So no, that's great. Cool. So as far as some businesses that are out there, probably some people are looking for tangible ways to, you know, have that business mindedness coming into the new year. What are some simple fixes that business can do, just quick takeaways to really elevate their business and business mindedness, I guess you could say, within their company? Like, what are some quick fixes that you're like, hey, we've seen people that are just, they're smart people, but they just don't do this, and it's super easy to do?
Yeah, we were just talking about this, the idea of, you know, New Year's resolutions, how you set yourself up for failure by just like, I'm going to change every element of my life, and there's no way you can possibly revamp everything and stay consistent on it. So just the encouragement of like finding one area of your business you know you need to change. Like, my emails are a mess. I really just need to get on top of that and be organized, and that's like the brain of your business. You need to be on top of that.
and by my emails, she doesn't mean our emails.
Yeah, no, we're great on it. We love emails. Like, pick just one thing. Don't feel like you have to revolutionize your whole business and be like the biggest business savvy person who's ever existed.
You're not going to be like, we're constantly still learning.
Constantly. Yeah. Like, there's a million ways we can overhaul, and we will work on doing that slowly for the rest of our lives, probably. But yeah, fix your email. Learn QuickBooks. Be a better bookkeeper. Just pick maybe one element to really start honing in on, and then I think the rest starts to build on that the more organized you get in business.
Mm-hmm. And we try at least once a year, if not twice. We just did a business retreat. And that might sound glamorous, like we're going for a spa day. I think when we leave the house for our retreats, our husbands always say without fail, have fun. And we're always like, what?
This is not a fun trip. This is a really intense brain dump trip. It's not going to be fun.
We get a hotel room for 2 nights. We like go to the grocery store, get a whole bunch of snacks, and we like order room service. And we literally do not leave a hotel room for minimum of like 48 hours. Like, we might venture out to get one meal.
It's because your butt is numb from sitting in your bed all day.
It's like pajamas from the time you wake up all the way to like going to bed again, and probably just staying in them until the next day too. And what we do is like, we try to really focus on just getting stuff done that we're either behind on. And one year was just really practical stuff. It was like, we're behind on emails and bookkeeping and like writing some proposal revisions. But this past time we got to really dive deep into like business structure and big like business planning. We're writing a whole bunch of educational content, stuff that you just don't have time to do. And even if it's like, I need to learn a new CRM system for my emails, or learn a new system like Curate, but you just don't have time maybe to like do it on the go, like schedule yourself a night away to be like, this is all I'm doing. Put on blinders, turn off your phone, tell everyone you're not available. And that has been really, really good for us to just regroup and focus and get stuff done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the things I was curious about from like an innovation standpoint. I think everybody right now is looking at the year. They're looking at their goals that they had established in January right before. And they're like, okay, didn't accomplish anything, but I accomplished a ton. Like those that list, you're like, my list had like 10 things on it. I didn't even do one. But I think it's so important, and we're going to talk about this a little bit too later, but like making time for things that matter, whether it's personally or professionally. It's like, hey, I got to make time for things that I want to get done, because as we all know, it's not organically going to happen. You're not just naturally going to wake up more organized one day, no matter how many times you put it on the calendar for doing it, until you actually do it, get away. And just a sneak peek for everybody watching, we're not announcing this yet, but SRV has written an article, kind of like a blog, about excellence. We're doing our new theme that's coming out. It's called Excellence. But it's really focusing around being excellent, but also managing the burnout with the pursuit of excellence. And I think that's super important. We've talked about this in email a little bit back and forth, and we won't go into it too much. I'll let people read about it. But I think it's super important that people realize that there is a managing of your personal life and your business, and really setting aside time for relaxing, enjoying life, and really innovating too, because all of them go full circle back to your business. So when you talk about doing the retreat or something like that, it seems silly at first, like just talking about it just casually, but like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you escape into a hotel room for 2 days and get that done? Because
and like
2 days.
Twice a year.
I think this year we actually did 3.
Possibly. We
Normally we just do 1, but
yeah, all of Simply, our little side a la carte shop situation that we have. We came up, built the idea and the website and the whole platform and wrote the recipes, did everything for that, and launched it within a week right after and during one of our business retreats.
Yeah.
Like it's the perfect time to like dive in deep, and you can get so much done if you just
like giving yourself permission.
Yeah.
To just, is that terrible? Permission to work. I don't know. I mean, because like when we're home, it's like, well, I've got to be home, like get the kids fed and fed and this and that, and I need to do some laundry, and then I'll hop back online at 8 p.m. and work for a few hours. But this is just like, you know what? Everyone knows that this is just pure work time, and you can. We just love
it's
it.
an accountability time where you don't go home and like, well, I could, but I'm going to sit and watch Netflix. Because for us, a business partner who's, it's like that workout buddy that like you're going to do it, so we got to do it together, and we're not fooling around.
Yeah.
It's great.
And that's the great part about having a business co-owner with you. It's like, hey, you guys hold each other accountable. I think accountability for business is super important too. Just having like your business accountability buddy. It's like, hey, if I'm slacking or I'm not getting my emails enough, not on QuickBooks enough, call me out on it. Like I want to get better at this.
There's actually the group. Yeah. You're going to
the same thing. Because for someone who doesn't have a business partner, we've done it as well. Joined a couple other businesses that are all in different market, like different.
It was a group. We had like maybe 2 photographers, a planner, a florist, someone else. Maybe.
But we all rented a big Airbnb, and did a business retreat together. And that was really great because you can bounce ideas off people in other industries who have totally different viewpoint than you. And we know some friends we don't get to go this time because just a lot of stuff going on. But so you can do it. Just find other people that are really great who you think will help build you up and support you. And you can all get individual work done, but be able to come together to like build things together. Yeah. Get help with your ideas if you're by yourself.
I think that's good. And you talked about a couple different ways to have that business mindedness. If there's anybody listening right now that's like, hey, I'm 110% design mind, I'm really not business mind. Like, what would be the one tip or one advice piece you would give to someone to like help shift their mind or help get them at least start thinking more business minded?
like our brains are circling. We've been reading a lot of business related books right now, trying to be like, ooh, let's be like the big CEOs that read like a book a week or a book a day. We're not there. It's really hard, but we're reading a lot, and it's really driving home the importance of, if you're a business owner, even if you love design, you're a business owner. You have to run a business. It doesn't matter if it's a creative business or not. If you're selling something or providing a service or creating something that someone will purchase from you in some fashion, you have a business that can't be successful to allow you to make your designs if you're not focusing on the business.
So it's like even if there's like no chance of you wrapping your brain about, around emails or finances, then you probably need to outsource. But I think outsource smartly. So for instance, if you are just not a numbers person, you need to bring on an accountant to do your bookkeeping or, whatever, you still need to have a hand in that, because if you're totally hands off of your numbers and you're just like, oh yeah, they're like doing the number thing, you don't actually know the state of your business. It's like, we can't expect, I was like, I don't want to get political here. I was like, like
do it. Safe spot.
You've got to have like the leader, the president, you've got to have a hand in everything. Even if you can't fully manage everything, you need to at least know what's going on. So and that's where I think we talk with a lot of people that are either thinking about starting a business or have just started. And we really, really like encourage people to dive deep within themselves to know, like, do you really need to start a business? Like, do you need to be a business owner?
If all you love is design, go design for someone. Go be a freelancer. Like, if you're going to start a business, you have to work on the business as much as you do the design. Because eventually the business owner doesn't even do design. Like, there's weeks we barely touch the flowers. We created the recipes, we manage the flow, we make sure what's going out the door is correct. But we're training people, we're running a business, we're no longer just designing. So if you're starting a business, you have to imagine that will be you in the future, and you have to be okay with that. Is what we push for. Did we know that that's what it would be? No. But are we okay with it because we've adapted as we've grown in business? Yes. Yeah. So it's this weird balance. Like if you're just wanting to design, that's all you want to do with your life, you probably shouldn't own a business. Yeah. So.
And I love that. I love the transparency of that, but I love also adapting as you grow, because I think you don't just have to wake up one day and be like, I'm ultra business person, I don't even care about design. Like that's what this is about at all. It's like, hey, as you grow in your business, take on a little bit more business side, or as you start designing more, be like, okay, maybe I should outsource this and take a step back. And I think that progression is super healthy, but it's progression, it's adapting as you go. So I love that. And kind of on the term, or the term of the business mindedness, but also the design and taking a step towards different directions. I know you guys, SRV and Amy Bowser, are doing workshops teaming up. So 3 over the next few months, right? Tell us a little bit about that. How'd you guys get connected? And why do you feel like people are so attracted? Because I know they are. Why do you feel like people are so attracted to this kind of workshop?
I think it's because, there's 2 totally different, awesome businesses. 2 people, 2 for the price of 1, sort of. Yeah. But
we met Amy at Team Flower. We had actually never heard of her, never met her. Yeah, Team Flower conference 3 years ago, almost. And she was so great. She just like came up to us and was like, we were pretty good instant friends, and then kind of kept in touch. And she moved into our area recently, and I think that really just kind of solidified that relationship. What we love about Amy and partnering with her is that she is excellent at design and teaching design. Like we love teaching. We love teaching business. We love teaching floral design, but we love teaching when it comes to the teaching realm, like I almost love teaching business more, and she loves teaching design more. So by like, we probably, hosting workshops is very time consuming and very overwhelming, like intimidating, if that makes sense. So we were like tired. Yeah. We were like, I don't know if we can ever really, we probably wouldn't have done it if we hadn't partnered with Amy, honestly, because we're able to like split that focus. So, like we can really be here to serve people's business needs and their questions and dive deep into that topic and kind of share the workload, and she can really dive in deep with people on design.
They're able to split the days half and half. So she'll teach in the morning, we'll teach in the afternoon, which saves your voice, saves your brains. It's like a shorter teaching stint, but still a full day, because you're getting such concentrated, because the business side and the design side are 2 very different things, and both deserve equal attention. So it's really nice to be able to, split up a little bit and really hone in and go dive in deep and get lots of viewpoints.
Honestly, like Rachel and I probably would have done a workshop just on business, but we realized it's really good to share the spotlight with some design, because we're like, people, unless they're like super nerds, sometimes like me, are not going to want to sit for 2 days straight and just hear about recipes and numbers and spreadsheets and finances. So we're like, this is the perfect way to do this. It's like, give people, a few hours to get their hands on flour and get their creative juices flowing. And then we'll sit down after lunch and talk about numbers and, and then, so it was a nice way to like get both, because we're really trying to, there's a lot of workshops out there that really mainly focus on design, which is so helpful. But we've heard just a lot of people being like, I need help with the business. I need, a lot of questions about that. So we're excited to,
I think it's to the left and the right side of the brain, like giving one break to go and kind of tag team with the other, like back and forth. We'll put the link actually in there about your workshop coming up, so people could register for that. So go check it out. We had Amy actually here at Flourish teaching about social and how to use Instagram. And seriously, like it was so tangible and real. She was like, okay, everyone take out your phone. Everyone's like this. And everyone's just like this and like looking up at the screen and like doing things. And it was so cool because she made it super simple, relatable. But like Amy, I think is the perfect person with you guys, is because she does have that business and that design mind. Like, hey, this is how you really optimize things. And I think that kind of relationship and network in the industry is super important to have. So I'm glad you guys had that connection.
She's really gifted. Like she has the gift of teaching. Like that is just her heart. She's just wants to help people. Yeah. So we learned something, amazing. Even though we host workshops with her, every time that she gets up to speak, we like, okay, listen up. Like we learn something to her every time, and we can hear the same like talk
She's
over
like
and over.
our WWJD, what would Jesus do? What would Amy do?
Yeah.
Like, okay, guys.
WWJD.
What would Amy do right now? She's amazing. So we're really, really excited to be partnering with her on those workshops.
That's awesome. And speaking of workshops and education, things like that, obviously education is huge in the industry. We've done our own workshop. I know you guys have done yours, been incredibly successful with yours. We have people that just rave about it. Whether it's social blogs, reading things, what are some things, maybe top accounts, companies, or even just practices? You talked about reading books. What are some practices for self-education within the business mind in this?
We're not experts at this.
We're just on Instagram a lot. Yeah, it took us a million years to even attend our first workshop. I feel like Team Flower was one of our first workshops and conferences,
yeah,
and we were invited to speak. So we went because we were speaking. But and then it's like spiraled from there, and then we've gotten more excited about educating ourselves in that realm, workshops and conferences and things like that, and that's been great. But in the meantime, it was always Instagram. We have a group between us, and we're always sending each other things we see. So we're all following along with what's going on. Like, look at this amazing new product from this wholesaler. Following your different wholesalers is really helpful. Love following Sue McCleary from Passion Flower Sue. She's constantly sharing amazing tips on how to like deconstruct your flowers and hydrating and foam-free techniques. And she's amazing. And so we've got her new course as well, her online virtual school, which is really helpful. What else?
I think podcasts are awesome. Some of our favorite podcasts. I haven't really
listened to the Flower podcast, the Team Flower podcast, listening to Brands That Book, which is a really awesome, just more businessy brand situation.
Recently read, we're doing audiobooks because we recently really got an audiobook kick.
We're trying.
Because it's a way to use our commute to learn. And we realized that was just a big gap in our self-education, was more even non-floral industry business education, because we didn't come from that background. We're an art degree, sociology degree. We're let's start a business. We don't have any sense, and we've gone 10 years of just making it up on the fly, and it's done okay. It's done great, but we really felt like we could use a lot more growth in that area. So we recently have read Good to Great, starting with Why.
Work Wife, which was great because
business
work wives,
female business partners.
There's another, the E-Myth. The entrepreneurial myth.
Okay,
that was great. Finished that.
Yeah. So we didn't plow through them when you're commuting. So
there's another book, Profit First. We haven't read that, but that's next on our list. Profit First.
Yep.
There's quite a handful that we've been reading. So that was sometimes easy. We've got some really good recommendations online from friends. So you can even just holler out there to the Instagram world and get some good feedback.
Yeah, they'll answer.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you bring up a good point. It's it's not just floral books out there, or it's not just floral podcasts, small business books. I mean, they can relate to 90% regardless of.
You just gotta get out of your bubble sometimes, because it's I feel like we're so inundated, especially we're visual people or visual industry. So you're scrolling on Instagram and it's you're just seeing more flowers, and sometimes if you really want to try to, that's nurturing your visual creative side and nurturing your business side, getting out of the floral world and thinking about this business in general is so helpful.
What's the big AIFD book that we still have not read?
Oh, the AIFD Bible, the big,
it's huge.
That one.
We bought that on Amy Nicole's recommendation. She was like, you just have to have this book. So I think that's something we want to work through eventually too, to be reading that, because that's full of amazing techniques and things you just should know as your basics that were standards in the industry, which would be helpful to know. All of it.
You talked about social, and I think we all see, because Instagram specifically is so visual, that people are just putting that visual stuff out there, and you get inspired from that side. A lot of people too have used Instagram obviously to market their work and things like that. I've heard when it comes for designing for profit versus designing for Instagram, we've seen people that are putting a lot of flowers in this bouquet, and maybe they're only charging $250 for the bouquet, but they should be charging $350 for it. But because they're going to be using it on social or whatever, they're like, oh, I'm just going to overstuff this a little bit, make it look a little bigger. I'll take a picture, put it on mine. I'll lose some money on this one, but it'll be good for us. It's an interesting concept, because it's that's a little kind of dancing in the waters of not as much profit with your design. But with you guys specifically, you ladies and some of the people that you work with, do you all use designs for marketing, or do you lessen your margins knowing that you will use this as a marketing thing, or do you always stick pretty hard to your margins and make it look amazing within that?
We stick pretty hard to our margins. There's probably a handful of cases where we'll adjust, but not for marketing purposes, I think is really where it comes down to. We have one marketing purpose. There's just a local magazine that we get great feedback from. And when they need flowers for a particular spread, that we already know here's a whole 2-page spread that we need this arrangement for. Will you make something? There's no budget for this one. Sure. There's where it is. Guaranteed print marketing, guaranteed publication. So that easy. If it's about like, getting 300 likes on one picture on your Instagram, we're less about that, especially when it comes to someone's bouquet. I know there's lots of ways people can do, but brides are going to prioritize their bouquets mainly. So why skimp there when you can already make the design beautiful and they'll likely pay for it because that's where they want the money to go.
Or if like you're trying to, like if your client really needs that bouquet to be at $250 and that's all their budget can handle, but you have leftover flowers, like we're all about like treating them to something nice for the sake of like, well, I have extra 7 anemones left over.
Yeah,
Of course we're gonna put them in the bouquet, but we are never trying to devalue ourselves by like lessening our profit in this for the sake of marketing, because it's a slippery slope. As soon as you start doing that for one wedding, you're going to be doing it for a lot more, and that little bit of profit you're giving up for that wedding,
thousands
it's
by
so
the
much
end of
money.
the year.
Yeah, when you can still use those leftover flowers to maybe do something else with. And that's what we do with our leftovers. We'll make something extra fun for the client and put it in the place and make sure to take good photos. But they're leftovers we already had. We're not trying to represent something that wasn't, true. I don't know.
It's hard.
It's interesting. Like that's never really crossed our minds. We might do it here or there. If there's like a client we really love, or there's an installation we just really want to do. If we really want to do this installation, we know it's out of their budget. We might do, there's probably like out of 70 to 80 weddings we do a year, there's probably like maybe 2 cases where we'll do that consciously. But other than that,
it never is like a market. It's like halfway marketing, but our brains are more on like, this client is awesome. They would be blown away. We'd be so excited to do this for them. We love the planner. It's more like this is going to add to the experience of that day. Yeah. And
it doesn't hurt.
Regardless of if an epic picture gets taken, it's sort of like the secondary thing. It just is, it's like a perk. Because everywhere you save, we're all about blessing our team and blessing our really good friends and our family. So when we can be running a really successful business that brings in great profit and we're not skimping and we have overflow, we're allowed to use that overflow to really bless people. So-and-so's having a baby shower. Let's go all out and make amazing flowers for them as a gift. Or, my cousin this, or your brother that, or we're able to give out of the abundance of us working hard to run a profitable business. And that feels more important to us than a couple marketing pictures.
Yeah.
No, and I think that's great. And I think it's, you mentioned the leftovers too. I know within the software too, we'll say hey, you need to order this many purchase units and you'll have this many leftovers. And you can kind of plan for that too.
That's so nice. Yeah.
And I think that's been huge too. Just when I see the software and talking to people, it's like, hey, this is something that's going to help you. You'll know exactly what's going in here. Plus you can tweak your arrangement before you commit, give her something bigger and better. And you're not costing anymore because you're already buying that unit anyways.
Yeah. We use that all the time. We'll include complimentary styling blooms for a photographer at a wedding, but we can easily do that going through the leftovers line in Curate I'll have 5 extra peonies. I'll put 2 in the styling blooms. I'll put 3 of this, instead of accidentally over ordering because I wasn't paying attention to the leftovers line. So that helps a lot.
Yep. And then we're adding value to everything by being able to offer the complimentary styling blooms or complimentary flowers in the ladies' restroom, at no cost, but we're really just using those leftovers and using every stem that we have. So it's good.
Yeah, that's great. And this kind of actually goes into the next question that I had too. You said before, we've talked obviously over the last 4 years, woo, congratulations anniversary. You said before that your decision for a software was more of a business decision than purely aesthetics. Why is that? Why did you kind of lead with business and then let the aesthetics follow?
Aesthetics weren't really that important to us when it came to booking clients. I think we already have we had a great website. We have what we think is a decent Instagram. At that time, like we had a space that we liked. So we felt like there already was a nice aesthetic to us in general. And it was our personality that sold people. We weren't worried about the proposal. Yeah. It was more like you're booking us, not our proposal and the way our proposal looks. So the biggest thing was the crazy amount of time saving and like mess ups, avoiding
human error,
avoiding human error, and not carrying around heaps and heaps of client folders, and just being able to have a program that also allows our staff to successfully execute the same things we would. Like we can all write proposals together versus handwriting. Like I just can't imagine going back to handwriting all these. Like my hands already hurt. Like if I had been writing all these for 4 years, like I can't even. It's been night and day. Like I just remember all the aha moments we had when we first signed it to Curate.
Like, and the thing is, like, saving time. Everyone's like, "Oh, time is money," but it is, because if we're saving, you know, if it took me with revisions and handwriting and translating into spreadsheets and all this, it took me, you know, 10 hours to do all of that a week, and now it takes 3. What am I doing with those other 7 hours? I could spend them with my family. That's value. Like that is worth so much. Or I can use some of that also. I have more time in the office to do other things that make us profitable. I can like work on the bookkeeping. We can write educational content. We can hire more employees. So, you know, that can also, like Rachel said, just log into a software and write a recipe. They're not trying to read my chicken scratch, you know, 3 guineas that were scratched out to change to garden roses and recalculate. Also, this is like the worst part of it is with the human error side of things. When we were doing spreadsheets, so these were our pain points. Our pain point was like, I didn't need something pretty. I needed something practical. Is I would, you know, make all the recipes, put them into a giant ordering spreadsheet, and then with just some easy error, you know, you add up all the columns. For some reason, I would have like missed a column, and we would be like, if I didn't add those like white spray roses in. So one time we were short hundreds and hundreds of spray roses. And it's like,
you don't realize that until it's close to the end and there's like barely time to order new ones, let them open.
Thursday, and we're like, why don't we have enough flowers? And I realized that this whole entire column wasn't added into my spreadsheet. So like, just to take out that risk for us,
it was lost client folders. Like take a client folder to a walkthrough and it gets left somewhere and gets tossed out from your car. And eventually like, where's this client folder? Every note, every recipe is written in this. Now I have to go to the proposal in Microsoft Word and be like, okay, this bouquet was $325. Thank the Lord I wrote all the flower types. I need to try and like count backwards to like what was even my recipe. We're just huge recipeers and every stem has to be counted. And so Curate was the perfect program to like be as nitpicky as we wanted, and we know where every stem is going, where every penny is going. It's just,
and it still offers us that ability to have the aesthetic qualities. I mean, we didn't used to include photos in our proposal because trying to like format them in Word or PowerPoint, it was so time consuming. So we just had words and prices, and it was not very pretty. So like beyond the practical side of things, you know, being able to use a software allowed us to easily like drag and drop photos and put inspiration images if we wanted or we didn't want. So
we just used like other programs that required a client to create a whole account and like sign in, and like did not love that. Like this has been so nice. It's just a link. They can sign, they can pay or not pay. Like it through Curate. It's just, there's so, everything about it has worked.
I'm like, we could just sing your praises forever.
You do.
Really, we do.
No, stop.
Really.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Now, if people are out there looking for solutions, whether it's something like Curate to actually help them with stem counting and proposal, or like QuickBooks too, like what should people be, and we're going to open this up for questions. I think we have 1 or 2 questions already that we're going to jump into after this, but put a question in the comment. But before that, what should people be looking for? Like, is it looking for that end goal and then software to fulfill that, or what should people be looking for when looking for a software?
Mm-hmm. We like stem counting.
Okay.
I think is the recipe and stem counting portion.
For me, it's the ordering side. Like I need, because we always do multiple things in a week and a weekend. I just had to have something that would compile all of them, like very, very easily, very just like it's obvious. Mm-hmm. Online signatures, the option to turn on or off online payments. I think that was, so we like to, if you can't tell, we like to have a lot of control over every little bit of our business.
You should.
What I really, really appreciated, because we looked at a few different options and had some different experiences, is that I like to control how my clients can pay us. And there's been different points in our business where we do accept credit cards or don't accept credit cards, or charge fees for people or don't, or build them in. And so we really appreciated that Curate gives us all of those options, so we can choose how we accept payments. We had other softwares that were kind of forcing us to do it their way, and we ended up getting charged so many fees, and we have very strong feelings about credit card fees, aka do not like them. So it was like that flexibility. So I think a lot of people just want something easy and pretty and just give it to me just like that, just book by its cover. But for us, I think look for something that gives you the most control over your business and that's not trying to drive your business. You need something that can help you drive your business better, really, that you can tailor to what you need it to be. And for us, Curate has done every bit of that. But I love you guys are constantly improving things. I feel like every time I log in, I'm like, oh, look at this new feature. Oh, look at that new feature. So we really appreciate just kind of how fast paced, and I feel like you guys really listen to all the suggestions, and that's just been huge for us. So yeah.
No, we appreciate that. Obviously, with the confetti and the 4-year anniversary coming up, like, we love the relationship we have with Sweetwood Village. And I think people like you all in your company, just the kind of company that adapts and grows as a business, is the kind of company we like being on with our software. Because if things need to happen, you're like, hey, here's a suggestion for the software. Like, we as a business 2 years ago didn't need this, but now we need this. And we're like, oh, great, perfect. And I think it's important to find software, whether it's Curate or someone else, but find a software or a company that can work with you as you grow and can kind of grow with you. And kind of what you need, because the worst thing is you would be getting set up in a software and then all of a sudden things change in 2 years and you're like, oh, I can't use this anymore. I invested so much time. But
so much time investment to get, set up in any software. It really is. Like, there's no escaping that. So definitely just, it's, figuring out what works best for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's great. If you have any other chat questions, feel free to put them. Do you guys have about 5 minutes for questions?
Yeah, bring it. We love questions.
Perfect. I think Amy, the question was basically probably Amy Foster, mentioned that you guys do your big open house with event planners and accounts for the bulk of your events for the year. I thought it's super interesting. I love seeing people do things for the first time in the industry and really digging into that. So what goes into that high level? What goes into that? And how do you ensure kind of profitability from kind of that marketing effort?
Okay. So I think this is in reference to our big flower wedding planner flower workshop thing.
I think so, yeah.
So we've done that for 3 years in a row. It started very small. So basically 1 year, several years ago, we did a lot of styled shoots and did not pay attention to how much money we spent on them. And at the end of the year, we had spent something obscene, like $14,000 on wholesale flowers for styled shoots, which is like, if we had bought, you can't even buy that many ads in magazines, but we spent that much. So we said yes to everything. At the end of the year, we were like, oh my gosh. So basically we were like, well, that can't happen again. We need to be very selective. And basically that allowed them well, that was kind of a marketing budget. That was more marketing budget than we wanted to spend. Yeah. So we shrunk that marketing budget much smaller and tried to figure out a way that just worked better for us. We were like, we could send gifts to people. We could buy ads.
We did gifts for clients. We kind of turned it into gifting for our clients. We would do a thanks for booking client present. And then I think we even did it's a couple weeks out from your wedding present. And then we did a 1-year anniversary present. And then just a few years ago, we were like, who's our repeat client? Our clients are not usually repeat clients. Some of them occasionally are, but rarely. So maybe we should shorten what we're investing in our clients to a thanks for booking, and then take the rest of the money, which times 70 to 80 weddings for 2 additional gifts was a little chunk. And let's put that towards our repeat clients, our planners. They're bringing us multiple weddings every single year. And that's a relationship we want to nurture, because a lot of them are actually friends. We feel like they're friends of ours, and we want to work with people who are our friends. And so building our connections with all the local event planners was really helpful. So that it was someone else's idea to host a really tiny, intimate, 12-person floral workshop. And we took that idea and just expounded on it, because there was whenever you're doing this next time, I'd love to join. And we're like, okay, I can think of a lot of people who would like to join. Let's invite 40 to 50 of our awesome local planners that we get to work with. And it's a little bit more of like a thank you for all the business you've given us. And conveniently, they're all in one place Instagramming our flowers for a whole day. So, oh no.
How'd that happen?
Wow. Like we don't, like, it comes out of the marketing budget, but it really is a thank you. It's like it's so much fun, and we get time to really just spend with them on just like a fun basis, but still relevant because it's flowers. So that's worked really well for us. We just do it annually in the spring, like a good time that works for us, and really pretty flowers.
Yeah. A few vendors have worked on partnering with us for it. A local production company. We've had
like a dessert company. So we bring in a few other vendors.
And then they get excited now too. And they'd be like, okay, so what's the theme for next year? And we all get excited together. It's kind of a fun opportunity to get in front of a bunch of awesome planners and just spend an afternoon together. So that's been really awesome.
That's awesome. No, that's cool. I've seen that. I'll be looking forward to seeing that too come in the feed in the springtime, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Keep an eye out for in the spring. Another thing with marketing, I know it's kind of a quasi-marketing one, lead sources, like how you get leads, how do you guys actually track those leads today with your business? Like, you know that, hey, we have this much coming in, our efforts are coming in through this, we invest in this, or Facebook, Instagram, online stuff. How do you guys track that?
Well, we don't do like any advertising as far as like, so we don't track leads that way at all. It's most of our business comes from wedding planners. Other than that, it's Instagram. A little bit
through venues, which kind of feels like event planners. It's not, but some venue referrals, planner referrals, fellow vendor referrals. Sometimes are one of the bake shops we work with, and a photographer we work with a lot refer us for certain things. It's just having a lot of touch points, building a lot of relationships, and all those people sing your praises because they like working with you. And that's where it all comes from.
And having real weddings published has worked really nice. There's a regional Washingtonian weddings magazine, and we have noticed that, you know, when we have weddings featured in there, we get really great responses. People will actually tell us, I saw a wedding you did in Washingtonian. And so a lot of different places, but we've never really spent, like I said, money on actual ads. We've played around with like Google AdWords once and things, and I think we had never done it because we never knew much about it, and so we weren't comfortable spending money there. And so we really just always focused on word of mouth and really taking care of our clients, and also meaning our referral sources. So those vendors that bring us a lot of referrals, taking care of them. So things like that event, or taking
care of them just by doing a really good job for their clients. Yeah, not like we're going above and beyond in a sense that is hurting our profitability, but just working hard, showing up with a smile, going the extra mile. Oh, the caterer needs help folding napkins? Got it. I've got 3 extra people. Here you go. Like, we're going to get the job done. It's a team effort. Like, not worrying about the ego of all of that, and just working as a team and being fun to work with. So we want everyone we work with to enjoy working with us. So we like to present that foot forward.
Gosh, I love that aspect of like folding napkins with the caterer. Like, that's not your job. You're not getting paid to do that, but like, I think that's what separates good to great, is like the companies that are really going above and beyond. And even if no one knows about it, even if you didn't even mention it here and they didn't even notice it on site, but it's just like, that comes back to you, number one, but also that's what you do to make sure the event turns out excellent in the end. So that's kind of that excellence thing. So I love that. Cool. I think we're pretty much out of time. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to shoot them to us. We have a great relationship with SRV. Follow them online. They are super responsive. Watch their stories, go on their pros. Rachel's
on her phone a lot. She's responding to every single instant message.
I hate the idea that I don't ever want to be so busy that I can't respond to every message. So we'll see how long we can keep that up.
So yeah,
I love it.
Yep.
Keep up with them. And if you have any more questions about Curate, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this webinar. We have the recording. We're going to send it out to everybody. If you had to break away or look at the shop while you were still watching this, we're going to have this out. But it's going to be curate.co/SRV webinar. And then we'll go ahead and have that there. And then we'll also send these out to the people that are registered for it too. So go to that for more information on Curate. And then you'll also have some more information on how to get the webinar too.
Oh, perfect.
So thank you guys. Thanks SRV for joining. And as always, a pleasure, and happy almost 4-year anniversary with Curate, and happy almost 10-year anniversary for SRV.
minded. So exciting. Thank
I
you
won't
guys.
pop it. I really want to, but it's a bad idea. Thank you guys. Have a great holidays, everyone, and a great new year in 2020 with the business minded and design mindedness.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.